So Scott, one of the things that we do with all of our businesses is talking about branding, positioning, getting a dominating market position. Now, it's so important with all of our clients. We actually have just an offer for, especially like brick and mortar businesses, or someone that might be online and they're in a niche that's very broad, that essentially we guarantee a 4x return on investment, which I think is really unheard of. But it is one of the most important things. We call it our rapid returns program, but it's something we do with all of our clients. Why is branding and positioning so important for a business to nail?
If you think about what a business, pretty much every business is up against. I mean, whether you're running a hair salon or you're an HVAC contractor or a chiropractor, it really doesn't matter. In most parts of this country, if you step outside your door, you're going to find like a dozen other people that sell exactly what you sell.
At least.
And yeah, I mean, if you're an HVAC contract, I mean, what do you do? I live in Dallas, Texas. I don't know how many dozens of them there are, but they all have an A+ rating they all have 4,000, good Yelp reviews. They all do the same thing. So how do you separate yourself from the pack enough to really, there are two things. First of all, you got to get people to notice you. Why would they notice you over the multitude of other, I'm picking on HVAC contractors, but this is literally applies to every business.
Yeah.
Particularly in communities like ours. I mean, you're up in St. Paul, I'm in Dallas, and we're surrounded by commerce and we're surrounded by multitudes of the same kind of business. So you got two problems. The first one is, how are you going to get people to notice you? And then second of all, how are you gonna charge a price that's going to both keep the client interested, keep your customer interested, but turn a profit? Because if you're just competing against your competition, it's going to become a race to the bottom. You're going to have to everybody's matching everybody's prices.
Yeah.
And the only way somebody can win is to lower their price. That's why we call it a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
And listen, everybody we're talking to right now already is feeling what I'm talking about. In fact, I think we have a lot of clients that could educate me on how tough it is, really, because I mean, there's a squeeze at both ends, right? I mean, no matter how well they do, everybody says they're the best, but if everybody's the best, then you're all basically the same.
Yeah.
So there's a squeeze at both ends. You can't charge more, yet you're having to discount in order to just be competitive. So what we like to do is create a new category killer. We like to create something for our clients that none of their competitors have. And the great thing about this is my favorite part of what we do. The great thing about this is everybody has this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a small restaurant, restaurants are great because they're tough businesses, but restaurants are especially easy to position. So the positioning is really, people are familiar with the term niching down. There's riches and niches.
Yeah.
All of that is true, but niching is different. So niching is getting a laser focus on the part of the market you want to be involved with. Okay, but positioning is really more about your angle for approaching that market and what is unique about what you offer or how you offer it, and I'm talking about something that's truly unique, not I've been at it for 30 years. I mean, you've got to be able to have something that wouldn't be on every other competitor's website, as something they're touting, So if they're touting their decades of experience, that's not a positioning. That's just that's maybe a feature or a description. I mean, it really doesn't, the fact that somebody's been doing something for 30 years doesn't really there's no benefit conferred on their customer for that. Yeah, maybe you're more confident, maybe you know more than somebody who's just started, but that in and of itself is not a special thing
Right.
for your customers.
Well, and you bring up restaurants, and early in my life, from like 15 to 24, I worked in restaurants, and one of the restaurants I worked for was a brand new restaurant.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I think, and if you didn't, you should go look at a restaurant. But he opened up a restaurant in downtown White Bear Lake, and a brand new place. And this was 20 years ago. So this was before the whole microbrewery thing exploded. And one thing that, from opening a brand new restaurant, which was kind of off the beaten path, to within a very, very short amount of time, like months, where we were full every night, the thing that made us special, we had 12 taps for beer, but not a single one was your run-of-the-mill Budweiser and, things of that nature. Everything was a microbrew, from when before Goose Island was big, we had Goose Island, but also the alcohol options we had those specific bottles that you couldn't find anywhere unless you went and paid $100, $200 at the liquor store to have it at your house. So people came to us because they had an option that wasn't available any other place. And any business has the ability to do that. We also had some items on our menu that separate us from everybody else, right? It's not like your normal Applebee's and Chili's. Everyone's got the same thing. So there were multiple aspects, from your booze to your beer to your food, that you couldn't get anywhere else. Every restaurant can do that. Or if I go back to my fitness days of having a brick and mortar business, how do you set yourself aside from everybody else? And you and I have talked about this before, but we had that unique ability of, hey, this is your private time. The place is empty. That, it's a different level of service. And so, to your point, everybody can do it. Majority of people can't see it. And that's why people are blown away when they work with us. We go through this, we give them lots of times one amazing option and 2 to 3 super good options that totally change the game. And they go from a restaurant where they're half full every night to where every night they have people wait on the waiting list. And that's why it's so powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. So the real power of positioning is that it gives the business something unique and special and desirable. So it allows you to create an offer. And this is really kind of the 1-2 punch. So the first part is you gotta be, I'll give you an example. I love this example for in the fitness space. There's a company called Curves. Yep. that developed it's for women. They're referring to women with curves, and how it doesn't really matter what your shape is, even if you have no curves, I would imagine. Yep. But as long as you're a woman, and the whole point was, there's nobody there looking, there's nobody, you can feel free to work out without being bothered by anybody, without being, there's acceptance for everybody. I mean, who wouldn't want to go there? What a comforting environment,
And speaking of curves, right? So go back 20 years ago when I was in fitness, and at one of the Gold's gyms I was at, and it was a strip mall, right? Big facility, very large facility, thousands of members. Right next door, there was a Curves, and they were full every single day too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And they were actually more expensive than what we were.
Yeah. I have a sister, my sister-in-law loves that place. And for exactly that reason. She told me she loves to go there because she knows that, she knows she's going to be comfortable and nobody's going to bother. And also I think a lot of people are intimidated by going to Gold's Gym.
Yep.
I mean, and it's where the big guys are and the big muscles and everything. And
yep.
I don't want to work out in that environment either. I'd rather go to Curves, but they wouldn't. I don't think they're going to have me.
Well, and that truly is the power of it, and it's why we have the rapid returns offer for any business, and why you and I both have a heart for brick and mortar businesses. We both were brick and mortar business owners, but it's also good for online businesses too. And to separate yourself online, that's really hard.
Well,
also, even with our big clients of like Quarterly Business Partner, why this is a key component, because every business, we're able to do one power offer like this, if not multiple. Most people just can't see it.
Excellent.